From the wedding reception of Rancor comes the pump-fake found-footage third installment of the transmissible possession empire that is Rec 3. When a lavish wedding is interrupted by a mysterious infection, it's up to the bride and groom to tie the knot and knock some infected heads. If Wedding Crashers was set in Raccoon City with a dash of The Exorcist, you'd get this Spanish panic of a threequel that lunges out of its POV predecessors and into a non-stop bloodbath of unbridled proportions. At what point should your uncle seek medical attention? Can the DJ get a return on his equipment? How many naked attic dwellers does it take to fill a mirror? And how many kids does it take to get eaten in a bus? Hope everyone has their best suits on, their grandpa's hearing aids on full blast, and make for damn sure you signed a prenup, because we're about to wreck this wedding.
Not the Chuddle.
Chuddle. Surprise. Whoa. Oh, that's fantastic.
Fuck good. If what the actual fuck was a movie, out of the mist and into the fog, it's Chuddle the Pod.
Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chuddle the Pod, the horror movie club that takes a ridiculous look at the serious and schlocky world of horror films. My name is Brian, and I am joined by my co-occupants of the pod, Ross and Sam. Today, we smash our cameras as we discuss 2012's Rec 3 Genesis. But before we get into it today, you know we had to have them back. Welcome Cody and Sergio from the always wonderful horror Bandwagon. We had to subject you to more Rec movies.
More Rec.
Wreck.
Well,
Wrecked
I am
yet
just
again.
a wreck from watching this movie.
Thank you for having us back. I know the listeners are like, what the fuck?
I can't get enough.
Can't get enough.
We're back.
Yeah.
But we
back.
just don't give you a choice on what you get to watch. It's always Rec movies. Hopefully,
Always Rec movies.
For forever.
Forever.
I have to make another one. If there's
I mean, we still haven't done Rec 1.
Crowdfund. Oh, that's true. We still have Rec
Isn't
1
there a
to do.
fourth?
Yes.
Apocalypse? Oh, we'll probably get to Apocalypse.
Someday. But how are you guys doing? Where can people find you? All your good jazz. Let's hear it.
All that?
Well, yeah. If you smell tequila, you might find me around somewhere.
Ooh.
No, I'm kidding. We are the horror bandwagon, Sergio, and this is
Cody.
You can find us on Instagram, Twitter. You can find us on our YouTube channel. We have a Patreon. Yeah, and we also have a Discord because you guys forced us to.
Yes.
So-
Shit's popping.
Yeah.
But your Discord's awesome. I love it.
Hell yeah.
You know, we get in there where we can. You know.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh wait, we have a podcast. We also do.
Oh,
pod.
yeah.
And we have like around 77 episodes, so go check us out.
Hell yes. We are definitely big fans over here,
Yes.
so we can recommend it. I mean, we've had you on a few times.
Watch
now.
it, listen
and
to
we
it.
always look forward to it. I know we're ready to talk about this movie tonight. But before we get into all the good stuff there, we got a little housekeeping to get to. Don't forget to jump into our Discord, which is the best place to continue this conversation with us as well as other fans and past guests as well. You can follow at Chuddle the Sam on Letterboxd for all his movie opinions, and at Ross Purvis on Instagram for a peek at his sweet tattooing action and other fun little memes and stuff that he posts.
Yeah.
Last but certainly not least, we have a Patreon, and we have to shout out our coven of witches. Travis Maxwell Boone, the Witch Doctor of Doom.
Doom.
Paul Litch, the Ditch Witch.
Witch.
The Horror Bandwagon, the Witchy Wish Dragon.
Dragon.
Trevor, the Witch Master of Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Ricky Prejean, the Witchy Cajun.
Cajun.
And Alex.
Alex.
And
Sup?
Alex.
We're still working on the summoning for that one.
We're
But we
conjuring the
promise
name.
we got something for you. We thank you so much. Your sacrifice gives us life, and we thank your beautiful souls. All right, Rec 3. This movie was directed by Paco Plaza, once again, and it was written by Plaza and Luiso Verdejo, who they've both been involved in the past Recs as well. This starring Leticia Dolera as Clara, Diego Martin as Coldo, Ismael Martinez as Rafa, and Alex Monner as Adrian. Those are some of the bigger name
Key
things.
players.
Yes. But now we're going to get into our Gore-O-meter.
Fatality.
Yeah.
Basically.
That was sexy.
That was
Oh my
good.
God.
Dang.
Nice. I love it. It's always a work in progress, but I think we're fine tuning that there. So on a scale of 1 to 10, Psycho to the Sadness, how gory is this film? To further break it down, we usually we've been doing this 2 category thing on like 1 to 5. What's the intensity? 1 to 5. What's the consistency? And add those up, and we get our number there. Okay, I'm placing this probably intensity. I wiggle between a 4 and a 4.5 on it, but I think I might put it at a 4. I don't know. 4 or 5. I'm going to say the consistency is a 4. I want to place this around an 8.5, I think.
Okay.
Wow. I would have said an 8, so it's not like it's that far off from me. I'm like, oh, wow.
Damn,
But,
I can't believe
I
that.
would go 4 and 4 on each side.
See, here I thought you were just gonna like end at 4. That was gonna be the full number, and I was like,
this
wow,
is a 4.
my sheltered ass.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, this is probably between like a 7.5 or an 8, safely, would be.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is consistent. You get some breaks in between, but it's a pretty consistent gore fest. And then the actual gore itself is pretty... It's got some good stuff. It's got some pretty good stuff on the gore.
The gore is everything to me in this movie. Like when it does happen and it goes like all the way, I was you saw me. I was happy. I was like yelling at the screen, like yes! And Cody was crying in a corner.
True to character. Do you guys have scores? What would you think?
I would say a solid 8.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Mhm.
I think it's consistent because there's a lot of blood.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
blood is definitely for sure
it's
consistent.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's my rating.
Yeah, I would also go with an 8.
Nice.
All right.
Solid. Probably put this one around an 8.
Yeah,
I love
Guess
it.
they agree with me.
Hell yes.
With
All
your
right.
7.5 and your 8.5s. Fools. Sorry.
Well, I really averages out to an 8. That's hilarious. Who is this horror for? This question is pretty much we're asking what kind of sub-genre it belongs to, how to watch, and is it for beginners? We are still in pre-spoiler territory.
Thank you. I was just going to ask.
So
I'm going to
it's hard
say
to place this one, but it's a zombie
genre
genre.
blending.
Yeah.
It blends subgenres.
How
on
Rec
its
had
own.
done in the past, like with Rec 1, I feel like it was very much a found footage, but intense, scary, claustrophobic movie. Rec 2 amped it up by turning that into like an action movie, so it added a little bit, but still had that original flavor. This one just kind of puts it out into the open and adds a little bit more room to
There's
work
a lot
with.
of comedy.
Yeah, and we're not in the same we're not in the same area at all as the first 2 movies, so we have more to wiggle around with. But
Yeah, I think
like
we
a
have
reception hall.
with like broader landscapes. I think that like it's a good for obviously like if you want a continuation of the story but want something a little different, right there.
Mhm.
Also, if you like POV movies and don't like POV movies, this movie works for you.
Exactly.
It's fun. Okay, so how to watch it? I think this one would work. I mean,
With a television.
in either situation, alone or with people.
I think it'd be a great hang movie.
It'd be a great
Yeah,
hang.
certainly
I think.
I
both.
agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
This movie should be treated like the wedding reception. It should be with a bunch of people because this is it's just fun.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a good time.
And is it for beginners?
You know, it's not a. It's funny as gory and as violent as this movie is. It's not the worst beginner movie. I think the only downside it has is that it has some context from the first 2 that you should probably watch.
I don't think it matters that
think
much,
so.
to be honest. You could watch this self-contained, and I don't think.
I think so too. I think you can jump into this one and not know the previous 2.
Especially
This one's-
compared to 1.
Oh,
where it
yes.
was like,
Right.
Totally.
Because there are elements in this that where you see it, you kind of just get it. You kind of get
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of
"Ooh, that is
self-explanatory."
bad.
Yeah.
That's not good.
And so then on to who is this horror not for? We definitely get our emetaphobe warning. There is
Yes.
once again
Yeah.
blood vomit. It's
Yes.
pretty
Definitely some
consistent with
shaky
this is.
cam as well.
Shaky cam. Oh man, we've got
It's not for people who are afraid of weddings.
Yes.
If you're not
Do
ready,
you have a fear of commitment?
Fear
If you're
commitment
afraid
is this movie.
don't do this one. If you hate love, they're love.
If you're
There's love here.
anti-love,
Oh, that's some strong love. Yeah.
That's some strong love.
There's some very
I love their
strong
strong love. All right, so who picked it? Why? The history to this? I mean, honestly, we picked this because we wanted to have you guys back, and we figured we needed to continue at least to this point.
least,
I
yeah.
figure at this, we don't need to go to Rec 4 immediately. Let's leave.
Yeah, I
this
think
behind.
we
next time.
we take a little break.
I've been dying to see this because since we started doing the rec movies or quarantine or whatever, this had come up and you'd always referred to it as the wedding one. And I was just like, everybody seems excited about this one. I can't wait to see it. So I was very happy.
Yeah.
Basically, as soon as we finished recording Rec 2, we're like, should we invite them on for Rec 3 like next month?
Absolutely.
See, this is like honestly one of my favorites. I had such a good time with this one, and it's so exciting to talk about that I was at the end of the Rec 2 recording. I was like, I need to talk about this movie with you guys.
Yeah, I was ready to get into it. I was excited for it for sure. I had seen it before a few times at this point, and I know Ross had as well.
Yeah.
And just not mentioning much about it. So, I mean, realistically, at this point, we've got all that behind us, and now we can head into the spoiler territory. Spoiler zone. All right, it's spoiler time. We'll start with a quick synopsis. This one's really to the point. I just stole it right from IMDb.
Nice.
A couple's wedding day turns horrific as some of the guests start showing signs of a strange illness.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, ultimately, bride and groom lose each other, and it's all about them finding each other through all this kind of nonsense. So before we get into everything we liked about it and get into the big discussion, a little bit of behind the scenes. So Leticia Dolera, our main actress, had previously portrayed Angela Vidal, the reporter from the previous Rec films, in the parody Spanish movie. And then in this movie,
they have a Spanish movie.
Yes, and it looks just like the poster. It's a parody movie. There's Rec scenes in it, which were also featuring the directors Balaguero and Paco Plaza, who did the Rec stuff. So there's
that's funny.
Wow, Spanish.
All right, so that's the
thing.
next movie we're doing.
Yep.
I'd be down.
Right? Let's just completely change it up. Comic book artist Tony Moore, known for his work with the Walking Dead comic book series, drew a poster for this film's promotion in the U.S.
Oh, shoot.
2 months before shooting, the main actress went into the gym with a personal trainer, training 5 days a week to prepare for the zombie slaying scenes. Which,
nice.
I mean, yeah.
It shows.
Yeah, for sure. In an apparent creative departure, because you'll notice that the possessed and infected behave a little bit differently than the other installments. In this movie, they're depicted
more
as
like
slower,
Romero zombies. Yeah,
more defeatable in the molds of Romero's classic.
Jamiroquai.
Spicing it up.
I
Spicing
don't
it
have
up.
enough time to say George A. Romero,
That's how the kids say it.
Yeah, exactly. This movie isn't necessarily a sequel, but they call it's like a parallel event to the Rec stuff, because there's 2 points where obviously the vet comes in and be like, I got bit by this crazy dog at work. That dog is supposed to be, the one that came in from the apartment building.
I just put that together literally right now.
Wait, you did?
Yep.
Did you put that together?
Nope.
Oh, that's so that's our connection. So it's not like terribly important to have known that from the first films, but like
that's
we
true.
do know
I
that.
would just say the mirror scene would be like just so you get a context of what.
Oh
is.
yeah, you would be confused as fuck. I was like, what the fuck is that?
The fuck are all those people?
What is happening?
Sure.
Well,
but
the priest had said something about it, right? Because then Rafa's like, "Oh my god, he was right."
There's also the scene when Koldo is in the security room or whatever, and the TV behind him is showing the news report of what's going on in the building. So that's kind of the biggest giveaway. Clara and Koldo walk through the infected guests as the priest is saying his prayers and everything. A similar alternate ending was made for original Rec, which had Angela going downstairs through the paralyzed infected residents of the building. Obviously that's not what happened. The origins of the demonic outbreak are explained in a graphic novel called Grec Greg, Jesus Christ.
Shrek 3.
I'm drunk.
Rec, Historias Ineditas, Untold Stories, released alongside Genesis in Europe. So there was actually this whole comic book compilation that was released in 2012 to accompany the release of Rec 3.
That's awesome.
There's 5 different story arcs to it. The first, which is called Trapped, follows the teenagers trapped in the apartment following Tito's possession. They're ultimately released and taunted by Tito before they can escape. However, they're shot down by a new group of GEOs who have come to rescue Angela. Right.
Nice.
Full on wreck. The second, Tristana provides the backstory for Tristana Medieros, who becomes the possessed after being raped. So I guess that's the backstory to the
that
possession.
Got dark. That got dark.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But so that's what is our like patient 0 or whatever you would call it.
Oh,
Gotcha.
The third, Zombie, Zoombii. It deals with an infected man making his way to a zoo where he infects the animals. And there's a fourth one entitled the El Experimento. The experiment follows the priest Padre Albelda, the dead priest from the second film, and attempting to end the girl's life in the apartment. So that's just more about the priest shit. And then there's a final arc following the infected uncle from the third film, and it reveals what happened to Max, the infected dog from the first film. So if you want the whole backstory of what's going on in the there's five different
rec books
volumes of things to read for you. All right, so that's all of that. Now we're just going to get into talking about the movie with 6. Now, this one doesn't play out as well because I wrote it like how it's written rec.
What, in brackets?
In brackets. So it's 6 in brackets. So there's no clever pun to it. It just says 6.
6
it's
in
all
brackets.
a sight gag for a podcast. All right. These first
Thank you
6
for explaining it.
It's perfect.
Right. The first 6 questions for us to get into the movie and pretty much talk about what we liked, starting with scenes and moving on to lines, interaction, characters, scares, kills, and gore. So scenes, we'll just kind of start it off there. I mean, there's a lot that I like to this film, so it's going to be hard for me to pick out a few different things. I did like in the whole, like, especially with the whole opening and the wedding ceremony and all that stuff. I did like it when, you know, the boys arrive. It seemed very real. A lot of it seems very real. They're like drinking a beer and then having to go in for a hug and just being the dudes.
Absolutely. It was very real. I was like, a little too real.
Right?
Yeah, I love the whole opening. So we've gotten to the spoiler zone, so I can say that I had no idea that it was coming, that eventually it would not be a found footage movie anymore. Yeah. And I was thinking, like, not too far into it, I was like, Cody's going to have a hard time with this one because how on earth are they going to justify continuing to film? And like a minute later, they knock the camera out of his hand.
And they're like, what?
Yeah.
See, the thing that really gets me is that based on the beginning of this movie and the way that it opens, somebody took this footage and edited it into their wedding video.
That is true.
And gave it back to somebody to
DVD.
Watch.
Yeah, because you get that like DVD menu screen.
I've been thinking about this, and I always think of this as like, there's this guy that's working at the police station who gets all this footage, who has this weird background in film editing. And he's like, this is my chance. I'm going to impress someone by putting all our evidence together in the perfect little package for them to watch everything.
See, and in my head, it's the crossover event between this and VHS.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the videos that gets interchanged. Like, see, I always pick it because it's like the church is involved with this. So it's just some like lonely priest sitting there going like, but if I make it coherent, then everybody can see it really how crazy it is.
But I want to keep it on theme with the wedding video, so...
But there's this really gorgeous footage before the bloodbath. I think people should see that.
I love
Cinema
the photos.
Verte.
It really builds their life together by looking at
tight
these stills.
zoom with the montage of stuff. Like, he just created all of that.
See, I just find it having an image of a priest who had just edited all this, saw all this monstrosity, and it's just hitting export and just waiting there for like until it finishes.
Oh yeah, because there's always that part afterwards. You gotta sit there and wait, and it's just like, I did it.
I did it.
I did it. Let's just wait.
Yeah, so that flip is amazing. But like even before that, when we were watching the wedding and everything, I did like that. I mean, like we said earlier, these people love each other, and I thought it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it worked really well.
It sets up the characters well.
Their
it sets
connection,
up
their charisma was good.
what's to come well, I guess. Like the guy had his hands bit, so you're like, oh fuck, you know what that is. And then like the couple sneaking off, you're like, all right, either they're going to be the first to die or we're going to find them later and they're not going to have any idea what had gone on.
Yeah.
And just lots of little things. Basically everything you see is kind of like has meaning behind it, or it's a setup for something.
I just thought this whole opening scene was so as fun as it was. I liked seeing everybody having the good time and just letting loose. But at the same time, I was just waiting. I was like on edge to be like, it's gonna happen. We're in the third one. It's gonna happen. When is it gonna happen? Like, it's just too perfect right now. And I really love that feeling that they gave me, that like at some point shit's gonna hit the fan. Oh, totally. I just don't know when.
Oh yeah, I really like that they just like slowly built. You just saw the uncle like get worse and worse throughout the night.
Yes.
I mean, personally, it's not my favorite. Oh yeah, I mean, it was very strange. But
and the people in their hazmat suits.
Yes,
that were just
weird.
Like
yeah.
Right.
You weren't invited.
I actually really like I like this opening. I feel like it did a good job of humanizing people, because you had like you had like all the family and friends come together for the wedding, and you had the Adrian was the nephew of the groom. I think
he was a nephew.
Yeah.
He's just like, you know, this like late teens guy with the camera.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
he's
filming the cleavage of one of the like bridesmaids as she walks past.
Yes.
He has one of my favorite interactions. Yeah, with when he meets Toon, the other like the professional camera guy, and he's like, "What kind of camera you got there, kid?" He's like, "This one's got high definition with megapixels."
Yo, justice for Toon though. Toon
for real.
I love Toon, and he.
Oh yeah.
He had the sad thumbs up.
Terminator,
he had the saddest outcome to this.
Yeah,
he did. He really did.
His decision to kill himself ultimately, and he didn't come back to life after that. So that like, I was expecting. I kept forgetting, and I was expecting him to like, you know,
to pop
out and it be for nothing type of thing.
Yeah,
but yeah, he had just. He was a very well-rounded character. I felt I was prepared to not like him. Like each time I watch it, I'm like, how am I going to not like the cameraman? Because it starts off, you know, we got to film everything.
Yeah.
And he's doing that role.
Right.
I will say the nephew, once shit hit the fan, he was the worst camera guy. Granted, in the first wreck, I forget, but I mean, they're meant to be cameramen, so they're trained to really look at everything and zoom in. But like when shit's the fan, he's like the camera's all over the place, and I'm like, what? Wait, let me see the carnage. Like, let me take a moment to see what's going on.
Yeah.
It does go from 0 to 100 real quick. Like,
yes.
He falls down on the uncle falls, and everybody's kind of trying to figure it out, and then he bites his wife, and then zombies come flying through the screen or something, and then it's just gone. It's all So I agree with you as wanting to see more carnage, but I feel like it needed to give you that sense of like chaos and not really knowing what's going on yourself.
No, yeah. It was also the most believable, because like a kid would not want to focus on that in the moment. He would want to run.
Like,
I love that when we see his face when the guy they call royalties, I love that part too, when they first meet him and they're like, who are you with? He's like, I work for this company. I'm here to write down what songs you play.
He had to add himself in the moment. Like, that's what.
But when the kid is holding the lady at the cop car and he picks up the tire iron and beats her, and then just beats her face in until we hear like some sort of smushy sound. And we just watch his face, like just sort of staring at that happening. I really liked that shot, and the kid, and thinking about like, what is he thinking about? Because he's not flinching or anything. He's just kind of like staring. It's very interesting.
I did like the in the drop scene, the uncle spewing all over. What was that? Oh. Which family member was that? Just the visceral.
Oh, the woman. Well, I do like that we do get, in true Rec fashion, we do get someone falling off something, but it's not through a body faller.
Yeah,
sure.
We didn't get any body, down the.
We didn't get the. Yeah, we didn't get the body.
It wasn't architecturally a body faller.
The the big dum
exactly.
waiter.
Thank you.
yeah. Like he didn't lose a lot of rings going down, but that smash was fucking horrible.
Oh yeah,
especially because he was smiling the whole time. Why is he smiling the whole time?
He's having a good time.
He's outside, he's puking blood, and then he's like, "Hey,
he's still gonna be your creepy uncle at the end of the day."
It's like, even as a fucking rabid possession zombie, it's still. Creepy
Maybe
uncle.
He's just drunk and that's a drunk demon zombie.
Drunk demon zombie.
That's just
I
living.
didn't even think about that.
I love it.
It was a wasted demon.
Yeah, it's just wasted demon doing demon things.
That's what happens when you have a fucking comp bar.
I gotta say, I personally loved the scenes with Sponge John.
Sponge John.
Favorite character.
Also,
favorite character.
It's so hard to say Sponge. I never appreciated the word SpongeBob until now, because Sponge John, I feel like it's harder to say.
It's got
not
a hard jizz right next to
Sponge.
each other.
Oh my god! Just when he says why are you still wearing that, and he goes, because I have nothing on underneath.
You're doing a kids party, and
I was like, that's a little weird, guy.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
It's like Sponge Johnny was like, and I don't want you to get me in trouble. It's a legal issue. Like, don't say that I.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't do that.
Don't know who that is. Don't know this.
Just that man in the suit, just smoking a cigarette, is like the weirdest. He made the movie for me.
He's very funny. I love the scene where it's Koldo and I think the cousin and the little sister, they get in the cavernous area where the grandma is, and she's super sassy and fun. And then Clara talks in over the thing and says, hey, come get me.
Yeah.
And then cut to they're wearing armor sneaking through the palace.
Oh yeah,
that is great. So fucking funny. Both times, it really gets me how goofy that is.
well, especially how they're doing it.
I was actually kind of surprised they didn't use that more to the story, because the whole thing is these aren't traditional zombies; they're possessed zombies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So would this armor and weapon of a saint not repel them in some way, because it's some holy aura coming from it? I was surprised they didn't go that route.
I wanted that so badly as well. Yeah, this holy armor type of shit.
I
was hoping for that. Perfect.
Almost.
This is why it's not quite there yet. I thought there was more to that, because we do learn that holy water does hurt them. That's what the grandma says or whatever when they're in the church. They can't come in here and holy water hurts them.
Yeah.
And
can't do sacred
them a bunch of bastards or whatever. Yes. That was a great part.
Sons of bitches and heretics.
Oh, dude, the entire bus escape scene was fucking
brutal.
So
I mean, we don't
brutal.
see
that was
and it's all
you know what's going on,
but because it's a bus full of kids, right?
It's a bus full of children.
It's all the kids and old people. It's
if you thought vent babies was scary, wait till you see bus children.
Bus children.
Bus children is. Yeah, because the whole time that's going down, and you're seeing it from the closed the little TV, and you're just oh god, oh no,
what's happening?
I think Sam has some vent babies crawling around.
I know. They're coming
Did you just make fun of vent babies and a vent baby came to your place?
Vent babies.
Were you expecting vent babies to pop up? We did get a vent scene in night
Was I
vision.
expecting vent babies? No, I was not.
Okay.
Once it switched over and was you're watching a regular movie now, I had no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do like when they were sneaking around in the armor, the other guy who gets pulled into the thing,
off screen,
and Coldo's just
guy.
It does almost a slow back out of the
his
room.
shield gets burped back out through the glass. It's so cartoonish. It's like Looney Tunes or something.
So good.
I loved
they
it,
decided
but the tone of this movie, but by the end, when they're reunited, it's really dramatic and heavy and overly done in a way, but I'm here for it. I don't mind melodrama.
But it is. It's like a comedy in the middle, and then super gory comedy, and then really heavy love story, and then just mushed into this weird roller coaster that is Rec
The way
3.
you just described that almost sounds like The Signal to me. Like this.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Right.
Very much.
This is very signally.
It has that
Which we highly recommend. Go back and listen to the episode, but see the movie for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Episode first, movie after.
To speak of like, I mean, towards that end scene you were talking about, I love the walkout scene that leads
Same.
to everything there. I mean, character wise, there's so many different characters in this film I like. Clara, Caldo, Sponge John, Royalties, Attune. I mean, they're
I don't know if there's
all
the
pretty
grandma. I don't
relatable.
know if there's a character I dislike. The waiter who gets
I don't
sucked
think
off
I-
screens.
Dude,
I don't think I disliked any character. Even the uncle, who like technically was our first villain,
yes.
is still like super good. And I love when he came back and had that.
Mhm.
He had a fight with Colto, right? In the
Yes.
kitchen.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And I think that was a Corey kill from what I remember.
Yes, that was a really
Oh,
good
yeah. Yes,
Oh,
that
he
was
used the thing
emulsifier.
against his like face.
the emulsion blender thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was all about that. I
Flippy
was like,
uses that
yes.
to make popsicles. The chainsaw scene, the scene with her and Rafa underground, and they just happen to be in the wood sawing tunnel. So she gets the chainsaw.
The wood sawing tunnel.
And all the, like, not only what a badass she is in that scene and the look of it, but then, like, the gore on top of gore, each one, like, one up in itself. And then
This was
chopping off
so
Rafa's head.
Fucking good.
Yeah, dude.
Clara's scene where she just turns into a badass.
So awesome.
I feel like Clara walked so Samar Weaving in Ready or Not could run.
Yes.
Like, I want to give this character such props for being that badass woman in a bridal bride, the bride, the killer bride.
Mm-hmm.
She was fucking hot. I'm like, oh my fucking god, yes, do it.
My only complaint is using the chainsaw to cut the dress.
I was like, that. I don't think
Oh
that
my
would
God.
work. I
Well,
think it
it
would
would
get
tangle
caught in the
up.
chainsaw.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
No, it would be
I
like
thought that every time it went in anybody.
I think, yeah, chainsaw's
Like,
not really
it-
good for
it-
cutting people.
I was
I
gonna
don't
say with
think.
like
No,
cloth,
not at all.
but with cloth, I was waiting for like the Benny Hill, like she does it and the whole dress goes
zips off. Yeah.
just zips off. You know, yeah.
Oh my god.
because there's a lot of bone and cartilage going through a person. Like the chainsaw. I mean, you're going to be getting some like at least
But
some
you know what?
traction.
I don't get to see people get killed with chainsaws if they did it like realistically, so it's
Yeah,
fine.
it's We're forgo science for the best gore.
So let's get into our gores and kill real quick though. Were there any like big scares in the movie?
Because I'm sure there were some jump scares. Oh, the scare or like creepy when it was also a good interaction is between her French friend when
the one that didn't even want to go to the
like,
wedding.
that's why they think
yeah.
French girls are sluts, and then they're having the interaction of like, I didn't. I couldn't believe you invited me. She was like, I didn't think you'd come. She's like, well, I found a cheap ticket. But on the other side, the window where the light like flashes on and it's zombies just standing there with the bloody mouth. I thought that was very
really good
effective.
Yeah.
I gotta say, Grandpa.
Oh,
Fucking Grandpa at the end,
Grandpa.
where that you think that they're like safe, and then he comes out, and you're like, "Fuck! I forgot
Fucking
about the
grandpa.
earpiece."
Yeah.
Fucking Grandpa.
deaf demon.
Oh, and I thought it was. I'm glad they didn't do it in the first one because obviously the ending's iconic. But I really think it's effective, just like walking through these paralyzed zombies. Like it reminded me of the end of Birds or something, where you're like, "What the fuck is gonna happen?"
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah. And I do like how they set up Grandpa with his hearing aid thing the whole time, but like,
Yes.
So
I wouldn't have fucking thought that that's what's gonna happen.
I forgot about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it twice for this. I especially realized on my second watch how much of the found footage stuff was just setting up for the next bit, which is funny because it's an hour and 20-minute movie, 20 minutes found footage, the next is an hour, and still everything.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing nothing wasted.
Yeah,
For sure. All right. So kills and gore. This is kind of, we've been talking about it quite a bit, and there is a lot of it right from the start when we get our initial uncle falling off. He goes in for a pretty gnarly neck ripping.
That neck chomp was like,
with the flesh
shit.
hanging from his teeth.
Yeah. You see the
And he's
pull
still
out, and then he's just like, so that was definitely a good one. The other ones that really stand out to me and sort of just gore wise, because a lot of the times the gore leads to a kill.
Yeah.
But the ones like, I mean, you get at the end with Clara getting her arm chopped off.
Oh, yes.
Whoa.
Oh.
Yeah, and just the spray
Dude.
out of it afterward. I was not expecting it like that. I mean, it looks not the best, but I was still not expecting to see it like that.
Yeah.
Like, it was, even though it looks fake, it's still effective.
Oh, totally.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It was so Day of the Dead that I loved it. You know what I mean? Where it's just like that, because it reminded me a lot of that arm amputation scene from the Romero movie, where I was just like, oh, that's so rad. I was like, I know it's not going to work. I totally know it's not going to work.
Yeah, it never
and they kind of know too. It's that weird fucked up zombie logic where like they also know it is definitely not going to work, but why not try it? Because like, fuck it.
What else you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say two things around that ending. I thought first that it was really effective gore when like he kisses her and then she just like rips out his tongue.
Oh yes,
saw it like
I was waiting to bring that up. It's so gross
because it starts off so sweet. You're like, oh man,
it's still gross. I was like, oh, he's kissing that zombie lady.
I was like,
I mean, I like it because
I
of the
think
love,
she looks good as a zombie too.
But I have to say, and it doesn't make sense because of how early on in her pregnancy that she is, but I'm kind of surprised that they didn't like have her be more pregnant. So you got a chest burster where like she hasn't fully turned yet, but the baby does.
That's the uncut version.
That could have definitely been interesting because they did play into the baby thing quite a bit. But
so obvious that's what she wanted to tell him.
Oh, right.
Before it happened.
I got bit by a zombie dog baby. I mean,
but yeah, that's definitely have that on my list as one of the gnarliest things. And then, I mean, they get shot the fuck up, which was awesome as hell.
I appreciate the creators for this because they made us like these characters. They made us watch this whole thing where they have a journey to see each other, and yet they still gave them like a brutal, gory death at the end.
Huge.
So that's like the Wreck ending where like everyone essentially dies.
But that's what's amazing about the Wreck series is that they, like you said, like they humanize everyone. And then they mercilessly murder everyone in the worst possible ways. And it's because it feels so real, especially in this one in the beginning where like, there's no big, I can't remember the last, like in a film, a big church scene where you get that many one-on-one interactions with characters and actually feel for them and actually feel like, oh, that's like a very solid familial vibe. Anytime I've seen a big wedding, it's like 2 or 3 characters and then everyone else is just like, you know, blurry gifs in the back. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and this one is like, it feels real. So when everybody gets,
I think there's a little bit of a minus here for me is that in Rec 1 and Rec 2, these cops or FBI or whatever, CIA, they didn't give a fuck who came out. They killed you on the spot. Yes. Yet in this melodramatic moment, they let him through the tunnel, through the outside. And they were pointing guns at him, and they didn't shoot him at all. Like at one point,
I want to see this play out.
Okay. The one thing that really pulled me out is towards the outside. Why? I mean, I guess I know from like the outside, so people can't see. You're tarping
the gates. And
the
stuff.
Gates, like they're just open.
Like the way they did.
They tarp the hedges. Like I was like, you're fucking draping topiaries out here. Like that doesn't
make any sense. When the government gives you money to spend, you spend it.
The government gives you that many tarps. You fucking.
If you don't use it, they won't give it to you.
You won't get it next time. Yeah, exactly.
But it is very funny because they were able to tarp this whole building, no problem. But then you get this big estate, and they're like, we'll put it on the fence.
Yeah, good enough. We'll just figure. Well, we'll just do it around the
gate. Should do it really.
Just go with this area. It'll be.
I love when Clara's arm got cut off and he like wraps it up and puts the coat on her and she's like, oh, thanks, you're gonna be a good dad.
Just like, oh, good shit. Okay, I gotta bring it up because I already brought it up. The entire mirror of all of the fucking possessed, but it's just the same demon everywhere, which I thought was such a cool fucking weird thing to. I mean, it's awesome because like from the previous ones, you know, it's just a point of infection of one possession that led to this, but to see it in a mirror where it's just the same critter.
I kind of wish we got more of it. I really wanted it to like expand a little bit past that scene.
Yeah.
But I
See
really
more of the
like
creature stuff.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could have been fun.
Like there could have been because I mean, as a giant mansion, I would assume like, dude, you could easily do like a room of mirrors where you go in and there's like like a big reception of a bunch of people. So like you see the infected, but then in the mirrors you just see like a tidal wave of just this of just the original possessor. Would be super cool.
Yeah.
I also gotta say the weakest death for me. Well, besides Sponge John, but that was kind of like I was sad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think Rafa was an idiot. Like all of a sudden, like during her badass moment, then you see Rafa like just get killed by one of the demons.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "You got." Well, she got to kill him. So then you just had like a decapitation there. I thought that was weird.
I agree because you just turn around. And he's like, hey, right here.
Yeah,
Just let him bite him in the neck.
I think it's like when playing it cool goes wrong. Like at that point, like you can not play it cool. You could just kind of, either fight, run, or just be like, I got it right. Just take it off, just a little off the top.
I mean, I did like watching the decapitation. That was fun.
Same.
Absolutely.
They wanted to give us a cool
Yes.
decapitation, I think is what it was. I liked when she put it in the guy's stomach and then split the guy in half.
Yeah.
That was
The one
gnarly.
before that too. All the
Through the
chainsaw
head,
shit
yeah.
through the head. That was fucking gnarly as
Absolutely.
So
shit.
good.
What
Yeah.
about the heel? The heel into a
Oh,
body
when
part?
she's climbing the ladder, it's
Yeah,
like
that
in
was
the
fun as hell.
eye.
Yeah.
That scene
Yeah.
was pretty suspenseful. I will say
I
that.
did
Oh,
like
the
that.
I
great.
think-
Oh God. Yeah.
I thought that was
think
pretty cool.
This movie did comedy and suspense equally well. It's hard for me to even call it a full-on horror comedy because it's really kind of that middle section.
Mhm.
But the balance is amazing. I feel like it probably would have been funnier if I spoke Spanish. I think some of the jokes would have landed better if I weren't reading them.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But it still really worked for me, and I loved it. And we touched on it before, but the uncle's emulsifier to the face, and we see it like blend through his chin into
That was a really
shimming
good
the
one.
back of his head. Is
Yeah.
Also nice.
I was so mad during that scene though, because he's like, he grabs the immersion blender. Okay, fine, whatever. It was gross. Like, I get it, but there's an entire sword right there. He walks past it multiple times.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for it since we see them cut the cake with it.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, all right.
Yeah, someone's gonna get impaled by that.
Needed some more sword play, for sure. Anything else to cover? I mean, anything big of the scenes, lines, character, all that kind of nonsense over here. There's a lot to see in this film, and I think these are the standout moments from it for sure. I mean,
But there's a lot more. I mean, like this whole movie is just nonstop.
yeah, I mean, like to think back, I mean, there's some really cool shots that I can think of in particular. The scene with Clara and her mother, just that shot, like,
Oh,
that's like
yes, in the rain
that's like
and the neon
daiquiri
sign.
shack or whatever the hell that
Mhm.
neon
See,
sign
that's
says.
another scene where it's like, oh, there's a good time, and then it gets like depressing.
Heavy.
And it's like, damn, okay, jeez.
Yeah, I just thought that was shot beautifully. And then when Clara and I believe the priest are in like the radio room thing, and
Mhm.
just in that room next to him when they have the kind of like the smoky glass window or whatever, and it's just like all red, and just like you see like zombies
Oh, yeah.
like pressing on. I think that just looked really cool. There's a lot of like neat looking imagery.
It's
I-
probably all the pent up POV frustration where you're like,
God damn it, I am a good cinematographer.
I'm really gonna say, if you give me a chance, I will totally make this. Yeah, and then there's so many amazing scenes. I mean, like there's like some great crane shot, like boom, like just like the actually
It's
filming
so
a film.
shot. It's shot well.
So good.
Yeah.
It's shot so well. I also heard somewhere that they lost themselves filming the beginning part because they would just it was pretty much a party. I mean, to like have that be just like
Yeah.
on the whim and be
Oh, yeah.
found footage. I can see how hard it can be because you are in charge of this whole group acting like it's a wedding, but apparently they like lost themselves and they were like having
Just
a good time and
partying.
actually like partying
Right.
during the whole thing, which I really like. I mean, it translate off screen. I wanted to be part of that wedding.
Yeah,
I
it
agree.
looked like a fun wedding. I will say from the flip side, there was only really one scene, and I'm only saying this because this is my job, right? Is to like
Yes,
pull out
please,
the things
yeah,
that don't
yes,
make any sense.
yeah.
Yes.
The only scene that I could really even call foul on is when they were climbing through the vent that was on top of the stove, because I mean, on one hand, you could say like, sure, the vent is probably not big enough for someone to climb through. But the bigger thing for me is that there was never a fan they had to go through. They just crawled outside as if the air just magically moves through that tunnel.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's an older building.
No, it wouldn't matter the age of the building. You still need a fan to suck the air through.
Of it. Yeah.
I'm going to start a petition to create bigger vents because it's not body positive. It's not body positive vents. I'm sorry, guys.
We'll say it again. Justice for a tune.
Justice
yeah,
for a tune.
exactly.
He was like,
Just
I'm not
look at
fitting
our
there.
tunes.
I guess I'll stay. I'm like, no.
Oh, damn it.
Guess I'm gonna have to kill myself.
It would have been fun for them to come back and he would have been like still alive and was like badass. And
Oh my God,
through,
if
like
you-
a bunch of zombies or some shit.
Mhm.
Dude, if you
That's what I was expecting.
if we
I
got
would just
back
hid
to
in like one of the walk-in freezers or something.
yeah,
They just-
or just like a Bruce Campbell scene where like he's literally just covered, like caked, like 3 inches of
Yes.
blood across his entire body, and he's just like, "Hey guys."
That would have been amazing
Yeah,
if
that-
we
yeah.
just then we see him at the end of the movie and he's just gnarly as hell.
he's holding the sword and his camera.
Yes.
So when we first saw him, I thought he was just sleeping, like pretending to be
Oh,
like, I'm
yeah.
dead.
I'm dead. Leave me alone.
And he was going to wake up, but then they pan down, and I'm like, oh.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
He went that route. Yeah, he's not
Yeah.
like, dealing with that shit. All right, so I think that is a good point to go ahead and take a break till we come back to our last bit of questions. And we're back. Thanks so much for hanging around with us. We're going to get into our next set of questions over here, and we're going to start it off with, in brackets, 6, 2.
But the
Would-
two's like
Yeah,
a
Like,
square,
but like
right?
small, like a squared
Yeah,
thing. So,
I love
just
it.
36.
Fair.
would we survive?
Nope.
Now we've
Well-
had. I think we would this one. I think we get more
Same.
clearer rules, and we know
Mhm.
holy water hurts them. I think we would.
Oh
Quote the
yeah.
Bible. They're slow
They're
when
slow.
they're not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's things I think we would understand.
I would-
Well then,
Over under 60-40. With that, I would say 60% chance of survival, 40% chance of just us doing something really stupid and dying.
See, I don't. Oh, so we can try it out. We have our wedding next year, so if anybody can start a sort of demon possession virus anytime
No,
soon,
don't do that. Do
That's
not
the
do
re-
that.
That's the
Please
requirement
don't.
of getting.
we
That's
will.
the requirement of getting into the wedding is that you have to be bitten by a dog before getting.
there you go.
There's nothing
get
Sergio
in-
wants more for a wedding gift.
Big dog bites.
But we're fucked because ours is gonna be like in a barn, and theirs is like a church with
no.
weapons.
You're,
And
a
you're wrong
state,
there.
yeah.
We are in a better position because there are
Really?
2 small access points to the reception area.
Oh.
You only have to
Mm,
control
that's
those
true.
2 stairways, and you're good.
but we're also
Cody
like in the middle
planned
of
it
New
this
Jersey.
way on purpose.
See, this is my thing. I always think that I will survive the horror movies. That's just the kind of person that I am. I'm convinced
I
I will
agree.
always survive.
I'm
I'll go back.
always in that mindset that I'm like, yeah, we could do it. Ross thinks
Me
we're gonna
too,
die
yeah,
in
for
every
sure.
one of them. I think.
No,
I
I
think
think
this one-
I
I
think,
I think
this
we
one
have
has-
a shot for sure.
I think we have the best shot with this, having like, because that was my biggest thing with like the past Rex or the quarantines or anything, not necessarily knowing the rules and guessing what would work.
Mhm.
But I think once we knew, we could play the holy water route to our advantage. I feel like that is such a big thing to holy water. Come on, man, that's so easy to make. Right? Because we're
No,
ordained.
it's
I
to
mean, we
make
just
Well,
find water
especially-
and bless it, and then it's fucking
Well,
But why
especially-
holy
didn't
water.
they do that in Rec 2? Because we had a priest there too. Did he just
Right,
was
but
it
we
just
yeah.
too fresh?
yeah. So that was the thing. Like, they didn't establish if that would really
Logic
do
is a bit
anything.
off.
Yeah.
totally.
This one.
But now
what
we
I
do.
don't understand, going back to the logic, so they reimagined the zombies a little bit, but it's taking place the same night as the other thing.
Yeah.
So are there just like various quarantines around Spain right now? Or like
That's what I
what's
thought.
it like outside of these places? Are some people just watching all these places under quarantine in the news? Are you safe if you're not in one of these places?
Well, I
If
think at this
somehow
point there's
I
only
sneak out,
2
will I be
locations.
okay?
Yeah, I think there's only 2 locations because this
Yeah.
specific uncle was associated with the dog that was in Rec 2. So
But
they must have followed where the uncle was going.
But the comic book said that all those people got sick at the zoo, or the animals got.
Where did those other random people who just like Kool-Aid Manned into the reception?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yes. And there was already all those
that's
dudes around in the suits.
You're right.
Unless Uncle was off biting people before he was, but he's not bloody when he's
got a
sitting
bite
on the
date
ledge,
before the
though,
wedding?
so it's not
A
like
bite date.
Right.
Yeah, those guys just pop in out of nowhere. So, all right. So, all right. I think we could survive it. Sam, yes or no?
I think I got a good shot.
Ross, yes or no?
Yeah. No, I would say yes. More yes than no on this one. 60-40.
Sergio?
I think you guys would survive it. I don't think I'd be smart enough.
I cannot believe that you have so little faith in me that I would survive, and you think I would just leave you there to die.
We are these characters, though. We would be split up, and we're like trying to search for each other.
Sorry,
I think that's real.
In search of oh god,
I would be
tragic.
I know.
That's even more tragic somehow.
See, I will die.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'd probably go out like Sponge John. I don't know. Like, it would probably be, or like I would just see you guys give a thumbs up, and then the second I gave the thumbs up, just 18 infected, like, drop down 40 feet on top of me, like Wile E. Coyote.
The people that are dying in this film aren't utilizing the rules that we know of it, and I think we would know what to do. And then if holy armor was a thing, that'd be fucking, it's done, man.
See, why is it not just like I've been?
That sounds like the holiest of armor too.
Yeah,
like, I mean, that seemed like such a good opportunity for a fucking infected to like jump on it and then like burn up and like or do like some crazy shit. I'm like, they probably just didn't have the budget.
Yeah,
probably.
They spent it all on the wedding, the giant party that lasted 2 days that they didn't stop.
All right, did anything pull you out of the movie?
The only thing that really pulled me out, and we talked about the vent scene, but I don't know that pulls me out. It's just a,
Wait, the what scene?
The vent scene.
Oh, the vent scene.
Okay. There's never a fan to crawl through. I think the only thing that really pulled me out was when they chopped her arm off at the end, and then it was just like, all right, this is a cross section of an arm now, and not like spurting blood or like anything else.
Oh, you just put a tie around it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, you're like, oh,
like a good dad.
Like a good dad.
like a good dad should.
Sure. I get, yeah, that makes sense.
Nothing pulled me out of it. I mean, I guess the twist kind of did, but not in a bad way. Like, really, it just
it pulled you into a new direction.
Pulled me in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It didn't pull me out. It pulled me in.
I think, man, the tarp did a little bit. Like, gate tarp was a little strange. And then, I don't know, I think also the idea that, like, the church scene to me, where they're like, they won't come in here.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, then they all left. I was like, well, I mean, you would think
that's who goes to the buses, right? And I don't understand why he told them to do that, but yeah. I mean, that's just...
Okay, you're safe here, now get out of there and get into this bus by the parking lot.
Yeah. I felt like, I mean, again, played that smarter, you stay in the church, and then, I don't know. You start figuring things out because I feel like that's...
Put on some Saint armor, go get some supplies, bring it back.
Saint armor only does so much, so...
Well, apparently it doesn't do anything, but...
I mean, it could
get some holy water.
Help, unless you just get grabbed and sucked off screen and then get your
grabbed and sucked off screen.
Wow. That was Rafa.
That is
Rafa.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
Sorry. Oh, no, I would just say I also agree. Nothing was pulled from me. Wait, what? I didn't get pulled away.
Yeah.
Nothing was
pulled out of it.
Put out of it.
I just like to say nobody pulled me.
I like that new way of phrasing
about
this movie.
This movie didn't pull me off at all.
I was on board with this movie. I knew exactly what it was trying to do, so I was on board for everything.
Sam, did you just say pulled off on Gunk Street?
No. You said that.
Oh, okay.
And thank God you did. Thank you.
All right. So what kind of tone vibe did this one have? I mean, this is definitely a fun, less serious than the other Rex for sure.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's
100%.
one of people's biggest complaints about this movie is the fact that it does have such a tonal shift from how serious the first two were.
I like it. Like this gives me like
it.
Texas, dude. This gives me Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 vibes, where it's like you get super crazy and super brutal for the first 2 installments. You can keep on going down that route, but I like the idea of like it's not lighthearted, but it's like it's definitely more jovial in a lot of aspects than its other, you know,
straight up funny at parts.
Yeah, like super funny. And that's what's like, yeah, it gives me straight up like Texas Chainsaw 2 vibes. I love that.
This is where I wish like something like the Paranormal Activity movies would have done, because after a while the formula got old, and I feel like they could have pulled a twist something like this. I actually was going to ask you guys before for the 4 that I always laugh at that section because the idea of the word 4 is so funny for me. It's so
credit Brian with
hilarious.
that one. That's a good one.
But I was thinking, like, do you think fans of Rec 1 and Rec 2 would be on board for this one? And what's funny is that I originally watched Rec 1 and then went to Rec 3, and I still enjoyed it. Yeah, I didn't see Rec 2.
Okay. Yeah,
I like both the first 2, and I like this one more. So I guess it depends. I didn't love the first 2. I just like them a lot. You know what I mean? So maybe if I was in love with what they are, yeah, this would be pretty. It is jarring, but again, I'm on board. Pulled me in, not pulled me off.
But I will say that it's still part of the same universe. Like you can, it's a different story, but it's still within the Rec universe. I buy it. It's not one where like, oh, you can switch the title and it could just be Genesis. Instead of
I like the
else.
idea of all these different events that happen in the Rec universe having different tones to them. Like you get the very serious thing going on that's happening in the apartment, because while that's going on, you know, fucking terrifying children are running all around an apartment building. You got people falling down body fallers, and then at the same time you got a guy in some holy armor getting sucked off screen and like all these, and slowly backing away, and all these funny things going on, and it's all
Sponge
just like
John's running around,
Sponge John
naked underneath his costume.
You have to, I think, like the tone of a almost comedy-esque horror thing to be okay with the tonal shift, I think.
Yes.
Which is funny because I love something like Shaun of the Dead, which is embraces the comedy and the also grotesque parts.
This gave me those vibes. Is it during her chainsaw scene where that song kicks in, that sort of pop song that plays?
Right.
Which is very Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah. Which is, I think, why they come in hand and why I love this movie.
And this gets back into an earlier point where you are convinced that in this world, not only would we be split up somehow geographically, but that you would be zombified and I would not. I would chain you into the shed like at the end of Shaun of the Dead.
That's love. That's love.
Just want you to know I chain you into the shed. I want somebody that chained me into the shed. Hey, baby!
Don't be giving away your wedding vows so soon.
I was going to say that should be the vows.
All right, so okay, is there anything about this movie that's unusual for the genre? And I believe the big answer is yes. I mean, the twist of the fact that it turns from a found footage thing into a normal movie.
Kick found footage in the nuts.
Yeah.
This one.
Precisely. And then message of this movie. This one
Not
really
sure there
doesn't.
is one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Even if you find a cheap ticket to your friend's wedding who you haven't seen in a really long time, don't go.
Don't go. It's not worth it.
See, here's a message that I think this movie says is if you work at a vet clinic and a dog that you were pretty sure was dead bites you, you should not go to the wedding.
Don't go
so
to the wedding.
True.
Maybe
You should go to quarantine.
You should
Hey.
You're welcome.
The only thing I got from this movie is that there are people that go to weddings to copyright people or charge people for songs.
I wonder if that's
that
like
is
a
what I got
Spanish
from it.
I
joke
looked
in
this up
particular.
actually.
Okay.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Oh,
I
perfect.
did a very small amount of research
Nice.
into this. And
More
by
than
that
us.
I mean I skimmed the Wikipedia page, but I I looked this up, and what I could gather is that the way that copyright law works a little bit differently in Spain than it does, like, for example, here in the US, where, you know, you would just automatically have to pay royalties to get the songs. It's like this thing where there's something about the European copyright law where you can copy some stuff for private use, but you can't do it for public use. And so there's like there's this SGAE is the name of the organization that helps to identify improperly public use of songs that weren't like paid the royalties into the original artists.
And so do they target weddings in particular to be like, let's see these fucking DJs?
If I was trying to meet my quota, I would target weddings. I don't know about you.
That's true.
I want a documentary about that
job.
Similar companies in the US, but it's like if you're a restaurant playing music,
ASCAP shit.
Yeah, they fucking suck. They're the worst.
What?
Yeah, because if you own a restaurant, you are playing music within it. You're technically a business that's like using the music to profiting off of having that music playing. So you should be paying royalties.
Well, I guess like
and
some
there will
stores
be people
have like
who
certain
will like
playlists.
bust a restaurant for that, or like there's then laws that come with that for having live music and all this garbage. It's real shitty racket.
And that is probably why elevator music is so common, because
the copyright
royalty free.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so last of this 6, was this a setting you were familiar with? Wedding in a Spanish countryside? Sure.
Yes.
I've been many times.
Yeah.
So many times.
I mean, all of it made
I rent
sense.
a property for weddings and work weddings all the time. So.
Yeah. And
the wedding part for sure. And then some of the zombie stuff too.
Very familiar with zombie stuff. All right, so then we are going to go on to our next, in brackets, 6, 3, Genesis.
Cubed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Or
clever.
That's right. This is... Our other episodes have much better like ones. The Friday the 13th ones are good. Yeah, okay. 6, 3, Genesis, villain level 1 through 10. Again, where this goes back to, I guess, the demon. But this demon's not as like present.
It's not as hardcore as it was. Yeah,
this.
Agreed.
This is more the demonic zombie plague.
Well, you know what was weird? I thought the priest mentioned something at some point that there was like they were all connected to like one bigger thing.
Well, he clearly is in on the whole big conspiracy with everything. He like immediately recognized, he's like, oh, I just have to read from the Bible. Let's just pick Genesis.
I just thought I was expecting a bigger villain coming down the line at some point, or maybe the one villain was back in the apartment. But otherwise than that,
well, yeah, I was just thinking of like, because it's so far away, that demon's reach isn't really. It's like still possessing
the signal is
these
weak.
things.
I
But
also would think at a certain point too that like if it's a demon and it's the same thing kind of infecting a bunch of people, that like it would probably want to like jailbreak its other homies out. So like wouldn't you like do I was thinking like a bunch of infected doing satanic hell pits or circles or something like that to start like summoning other demons onto because I mean like if you're gonna do one, it spreads around, you're gonna get a little
gotta get your friends out too.
Yeah
That'd be interesting. So the villain level 1 through 10
4, 3.
4 sounds good. Yeah, I mean it's.
I'm gonna do a 6 just because of the zombie infection part of it. I think the bad guy, like the actual demon itself, is I don't know. Like you said, with the chanting the Bible and holy water and stuff like that, it's a very easy fix. But if you're not part of that and you're just trying to survive the infection part, that is also pretty gnarly. I got to give it an extra 2 points for that.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable giving it over a 6, only because I feel like
you refuse.
Well, it's I don't really understand how the reading of just Genesis, how the reading of the Bible like enraptures these demons so much that they're like they just have to stop and like look
Like
up at the ceiling,
paralyzed.
and some of them stand still and others like twitch because they're like not cool with it.
There's one you notice in
Hate
the
it.
background. She's like banging on her head.
Yeah, I did see
I mean,
that.
that's what happens to me whenever someone reads Genesis at me.
Yeah, when some
I'm
I
like,
start-
whoa.
I just start punching myself in the face.
Bible
Just pounding
out, yeah.
my chest.
So I
Pick
would
a
say
different verse, please.
I would say maybe a 5. I think that I agree with you, Ross, that like the way that it spreads and the fact that like it's a little more menacing there because it's not traditional zombies, it's demon zombies. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I think a 5 feels right because there's so many ways to defeat these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
I'm
sure.
gonna give it. Yeah, I'm gonna agree. 5. Same thing as everyone. I think what made him scary though was that I knew the disease prior with the previous entries,
Mhm.
so like I was already familiar with it.
I think Sam has vent babies again.
Oh yeah, big
I
time.
I definitely
heard
heard
that.
vent babies.
Yeah.
All right, so
We're talking too much shit about vent babies.
I know.
Everybody, be careful.
Careful. Be careful. It's kind of like Bloody Mary if you say it a bunch
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah.
Vent babies,
No.
vent babies, vent babies.
Or Teddy Spaghetti.
I'll,
So
I'll
does
be
this
right back.
Oh.
deserve
Uh,
a sequel? Should there be a sequel? I mean,
I
Why
mean, there
not?
was.
Based on this one, I'm
Yeah.
so happy to if it's the same team because I enjoyed the first 2, loved this one. Let's keep it rolling.
yeah, for sure. I agree. I think it would
Agreed.
be neat to see what they do next. I haven't seen the 4th one, so I don't know where that goes, to be honest.
Yeah.
But-
Hasn't anybody seen the 4th one?
I have not seen the 4th one.
Oh,
I've only seen
wow.
clips of the 4th one, but
I
I
fe-
haven't seen it entirely.
I feel like we do need to close it out.
God damn it.
we need to complete this gooseception that we have here.
We'll see you next
Oh,
week.
Gooseception.
Let's just get this out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all on board to see what
Well-
this world has to offer, right?
Oh, I will
Yeah.
go. I will ride this bus to the last stop with you guys. Like I think this is we have to finish this at this point.
Would you buy
Yeah.
the soundtrack? Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I was just gonna say I do think that a sequel would be warranted because I have a feeling like it wasn't really well contained either in Rec 2 or Rec
Yeah.
3.
Mhm.
That there's other stuff going on, but I don't quite know what I would do. I mean, would
This
you...
one's at a bar mitzvah.
I was gonna say, do you step this up and have it like take place in a city so it's like even bigger from a
true.
scale
Mm.
size?
But
I
would
don't
you
know.
continue the VHS, the found footage formula, or would you now just go into cinematic mode?
Maybe,
I think
like,
I
both.
would.
Maybe
I
if
think
it's, like-
go into cinematic mode at this point.
Keep it there. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
cinematic,
it's
or
tough,
maybe like
though,
have
because
clips
the
of it.
series is called
Ooh.
Wreck, but I mean,
Right.
Maybe like if it's a Spanish version of Bonnaroo, where it's like a bunch of people at a festival, so you're gonna have tons of different people videotaping,
Oh, okay.
and then you can go to this ginormous cinematic thing after all hell breaks loose.
I actually like that.
Yeah.
that's
Let's
going to be
get
an
young,
editing
spry
nightmare for the
zombies.
VHS cult guy who's putting.
Hey, you
that
know what?
together.
That priest is super lonely, and he's got Photoshop and a
only
bunch
thing
of
that
other
keeps him
editors.
going.
He's
Pulling all
he's
these
so
different-
doing it, dude.
Yeah, that could be fun. All right, so would you buy the soundtrack or score on vinyl? I mean, I like some of the songs. I'd
Yeah,
listen
they
to
seem
them.
fine enough.
They're wedding
I wondered
party.
if they were
I get it
well-known
as a-
songs or not. How much?
I get it as like a
royalties they were
mixtape.
paying.
Like
Okay.
if it was on a Spotify or Apple playlist, then
That'd be
I would
cute.
jam out to this. I don't know if I get this on.
You don't need the
vinyl.
vinyl, but you
No.
you download.
I would only-
I jam out to it.
I would only get it
absolutely.
because it'd be cool to be like put on the wall or something.
Look at that.
You see this? This is
Look
Rec
at-
3. You ever seen
Rec
Rec
3.
3? Pretty good.
I
That's
would
the,
think you
vi-
could play it
that's
at
the vinyl
weddings.
for it. No, we can't watch that. I don't actually own the movie, but that's the vinyl.
No,
It's photo
but
of
it's a
I would
laser
get-
disc. I just don't have a laser disc player.
There's a movie on there.
We've all been there. So is anything from an action figure worthy? I'm going to say yes. I think
hmm
Clara would
Just
be
to
a
have a-
cool, like her
Yes, with a
fucking holding a chainsaw,
Mhm.
just in
the
badass
opportunity
mode.
to have a Sponge John.
Sponge
action
John!
figure.
Yes!
Sponge John.
I was gonna
Like,
say that.
And
Oh.
I'd
Koldo
take
in the holy
armor.
armor.
Yes,
Yes.
Armored
Yes.
Koldo for sure.
Yeah, all of it. I could see it, split open zombie. I'm imagining them also as like Funko
Yes.
Pops too, and I want the split open
Oh,
The
that's so
split
good.
open
Funko.
Mhm.
I would like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That'd
It
be
just has a button on the back, so it just goes.
We need like the real like ones where okay, to work in some more goo here, you can have like ones that like you can like pump goo so.
Oh
like,
yeah,
you get
just
the
projectile
uncle.
vomiting.
Uncle.
Yeah.
maybe like
what toy is that? No, that's Uncle. He vomits.
just
It's vomiting uncle.
drunk uncle. Is
Drunk
that drunk uncle? Drunkle.
Drunkle.
A drunkle.
Vomiting drunkle.
Honestly, when I thought of drunk uncle with this, I immediately went to the Bobby Moynihan sketch on
the
SNL.
sketch.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
now
funny.
I would like a crossover.
This is my this is my gunkle.
Oh, Gunkle. Sam's not a big fan of the word gunk, I don't think.
Gunk.
Hates it.
I don't think he
Worse
likes the
than
hard
goo.
G.
Gunk.
Goo is
Goo.
goo's sexy. Goo's
Well,
like,
and gunkles
ooh.
are also something very
Gunk.
different too.
Yeah. A gunkle in itself is nothing you want to mess with. All right, so what merch or prop would you want from the film?
The
Plenty of
sword.
good, the sword. I was
Yeah,
thinking
sword.
would be
Yeah.
a good one. A sword pen, like it's the sword.
Oh yeah.
But it's a pen you can write with, so it's a little bit more practical.
A Swiss Army knife that's small enough to fall in the cracks between
Yes.
grates.
Ooh,
Right.
Yes. Yeah, that must have been tiny. I didn't
World's
even think of that.
tiniest Swiss Army knife.
Rec 3 tourniquets. Just
Ties.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh, right.
For use
Yeah.
prior to cutting off limbs. Yes.
yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I would buy merch wise. I would buy like let's say Rec 3 is coming out and McDonald's has like little toys coming out for Rec 3. It would be like a little camcorder that you pull up and it's like a clip from the movie.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Didn't they used to have like
All
ones where you could like
collectible.
it was almost like
You
a
could
mini pinwheel thing, but you could like click
Yeah.
it and it would like change and you could like see like a
See
like
the
a
movie
scene,
clips?
like a
Yeah.
little clip from the movie. Just
And
a
I can
split
see-
open head.
I can see on the box little like star symbol that says now with megapixels.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mine's got megapixels. All right, so we're at the midnight show for this one. What are we like throwing at the screen? This is like our new one here. So like at the room, they throw
cuts
spoons
her
at
arm
the
off.
screen and everything.
Throws band-aids. Everyone throws band-aids after the
After she cuts her arm.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone just throws band-aids at
That's
the
a good
screen.
one. Yes.
You can also just throw rice at the
Oh,
wedding.
rice.
scene.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, the wedding.
Scene.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Mhm. Throw condoms at Rafa when he's sneaking off.
I mean, I think those ones are as good as any. I didn't have any other.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah.
So this is the time to get into our ratings, and now is the time to gas up our chainsaws as we rate this film. On this show, we like to use the Chuddle scale. 0 to 5 fingers. How many would you chop off? Each finger adds to the score with more fingers equaling a higher score. Don't forget you can chop off half a finger as well as no fingers. Sam, you're new
Yo.
to this one, so I'm going to have you yo it up and sup it up and start for us, please.
All right. Was it engaging? Fully. That's going to be one whole finger chopped off.
All right.
What's next? Sticky? Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things, time will tell. But you know what? Actually, lately I've been thinking if I'm in between something, I'm just going to go ahead and give it the better rating. Because why not? So I'll give it a
Nice.
1, even though it's between a 0.5 and a 1. T-shirtable? Yeah, I think for sure. Not only do I like it enough, I could easily... We talked about how cool a lot of the movie looks, so there's a lot
Mhm.
of things that I think could make a cool shirt. Cockles.
So what was
Oh,
that
yeah.
for T-shirtable? A 1?
1.
or- Okay.
Yeah. Cockles. Absolutely works the cockles. It
Absolutely.
I feel very good about cutting off a full finger for cockle.
Mhm.
And lastly, rewatchable. Yeah, I'm between 0.5 and a 1, but like I said, might as well just kick it up a notch.
Woo!
So you know what? That gives this bad boy
Five.
5 fingers. Cut them all off.
All right.
All right. From Sam, 5. Ross, over to you. How are you feeling
Ooh.
tonight?
All right. Well, engaging. I was definitely engaged. That's going to get a full 1 for me. Sticky. Man, that's a lot of keynotes from Sam. It was sticky. It was good. Like there's a lot of stuff that stuck with me with this movie. I think what stuck with me more is how effective the comedy was, and how effective the movie was when you get lurched out of this POV. T-shirtable to me is it's a 0.5 for me. I feel like there's some good stuff, but I don't know if I'd necessarily wear any of it on a t-shirt, if that makes sense. Yeah. There's a few.
Like, are you kidding me? You saw a hand, and that hand was cool. I'd put that on a shirt.
No, there are. It's just there's something about it that it gives me 0.5. Cockles, I'm gonna say fully engaging on the cockles. Like this was oh man, it just felt good. This whole movie feels good. Like,
Sure.
the people are great, the gore is great, even the ridiculous stuff it's the level of plausibility for me is totally fine. Like any of this, I'm on board for the entire ride. Rewatchable. Absolutely rewatchable. This is a weird one for me though. It's a full one. But I would want to watch all three. Like this to me, I feel I would like the progression to insanity that is Rec 3 through watching 1, 2, and then 3.
Oh,
like, I wouldn't just randomly pick up 3. I would just watch this trilogy.
Very interesting. I would definitely just watch this.
I just watch
watching
this.
the other 2.
Yeah.
Every now and then maybe watch the other 2, but yeah, if I'm just gonna watch anything in Rec and have a choice to, I'm going to this.
I mean, I understand what you mean by that. For that experience, it's just
So
different strokes,
different
to pull you off.
Hey, buy me
different
some Coke.
tarps.
All right, engaging. I would definitely give this a 1 for engaging. I was thoroughly engaged throughout the whole thing. Sticky. This one has definitely stuck with me since the first time I've seen it. I constantly think of the imagery from it. I mean, Clara is I think she is a very cool, badass looking figure, and that's always stuck with me. The chainsaw, the cover of this movie, like I've always had that in there. And then just coming back to it now. So that gets a full 1 as well. T-shirtable. I agree with just what I said in terms of the imagery and what Sam is saying too. It's definitely t-shirtable. I think there's a lot of cool shit that can be done with it. I don't know, I really love that image of Clara and her mother and like the neon sign. I think that could be like designed into a neat shirt and all this sort of stuff. Full one. Cockles. This one makes me feel good. This one gets a full cockle as well. And rewatchable, speaking to it, everything that came before this over here. I mean, I watched this twice today and had no problem watching it twice. I watched it a couple weeks ago, right after we did Rec 2, just to be like, I want to go right into it. I know the surprise. I don't have to let's just fucking do it. So it gets a 1. So fuck, that gets another 5 from me.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Crazy, right? I was not expecting it to hit that high, but it does according to the scale. So that's from the Chuddleman. Let's go over to you guys. Sergio, I'm starting with you.
I'm loving this rating so far, especially for like a third entry in a franchise.
Right?
That it's so well received. I actually really like that, and kudos to the creators. Engaging, I was engaged the whole time, so take a finger. There was no lull in the movie, and even the beginning, I was thoroughly engaged. Sticky, a lot of things stick with me, especially the scene with Clara and her mother, just like their passion all together, the ending scene. I mean, there's so much that I could pick apart from this movie. So full on 1. T-shirtable, I will say t-shirtable, I think half. Only because I think the only shirt I would wear from this would be Clara and her chainsaw, and just any variety of that would be great. So I'll go half. Cockles, full on cocklage. I'm experiencing.
I'm actually going to write that one down.
President
Full on,
Cockledge.
the cocklage is real.
The cockroach is real.
Give me a 1 for that one. And rewatchability, I give me another 1 there. I would rewatch this again, and only this. This is awesome because it's so different. I would have a fun time just going to. I would even probably watch Quarantine and then this one, and just pretend it's in the same universe.
That's fun. Like Quarantine's happening over in LA, and there's this weird separate incident happening in Spain.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, Cody.
All right, so I'll say first that I'm gonna change the rating system for myself a little bit, only because I have to be different.
How dare you?
And Fingers famously, for most of them, have 3 segments, so I'm going to use third points.
Okay.
Third points.
Wow.
Right.
This is gonna get Ross started on something.
Oh no!
So I'll say engaging. I would put this at 2/3. I was pleasantly enjoying most of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Sticky. I think that this is probably a 1. Fairly iconic movie, and I've never seen a movie that has like transitioned from found footage to full movie before, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For t-shirtable, I would also wear a Clara with her chainsaw.
Mhm.
I would probably
In her dress.
wear a Koldo and Holy Armor shirt.
Okay.
I would put this at 2/3 as well. Cockles, I agree, full cocklage. This warmed my heart. And rewatchable, I'll give this a 1 too. I really like enjoyed this movie. I'd watch it again. It was a lot of fun. So that puts me at 4 1/3.
Ooh.
All right. That is a pretty good score. As we finish up tonight's episode, we're going to close out with our final 2 questions. First, does Rec 3 Genesis belong in the Chuddle Club crypt? To qualify, it needs to have an average score of over 4 fingers. So Sam, does it make it in?
It absolutely makes it in.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
easily.
A very
There it
strong
does.
score of a 4.8.
Yeah, for sure. We haven't
Wow.
had one hit recently, but yeah, that's awesome.
Terrified.
So
Same
it
score,
gets-
actually.
gets the stamp of approval right on top of that. And to finish us off, I wanted to ask you all a final would you rather type of question. And I think this one's going to be relatively easy. So if it can spawn anything else, you can feel free to ask it. Would you rather experience the events of Rec 1 and 2 and be in the apartment scenario or be placed in the wedding scenario?
Oh, I'm RSVPing to the wedding.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
And I'd agree. I think that because I think we talked about this last time, and I said I would rather do super rabies because at least medically we can figure some stuff out.
Yeah.
But now that I know I just have to read from the Bible,
Right.
Then
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah, we
demonic
understand-
infection, 100%.
You
Yeah,
got a
it's
church there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You got
So many places to hide too. I
Mhm.
feel like wedding
Mhm.
is the place to be.
weapons.
Apparently, you could maybe walk outside and not get shot right away.
Yeah, they're a little bit more
Yeah.
lenient with the police
Right.
over there in terms of who they're shooting.
They gave us a
Uh,
chance.
Yeah, so
What do you think would be a worse place than the apartment?
a
Like if we're
worse
getting
place?
in better places to survive, as in like the wedding venue is a lot better. What would be a worse place than the
Well,
apartment?
the
building?
apartment's not
Anywhere out in
necessarily.
the open.
Hmm.
Yeah, because the apartment's not necessarily terrible if you have like your apartment and you just keep your door closed.
Yeah.
Don't
I
go
think a
out
music
of it.
festival.
Music
Yeah.
festival. Yeah, a big crowded area,
Be
like a
huge
stadium
crowd.
event, something like that.
Oh my god! Like a
yeah,
rock
like
and
a
roll
like the
concert.
fucking Madison Square
A
Garden,
rock and
hanging
roll
out.
concert.
A rock
At
and
a
roll
rock and roll
concert.
concert. Yeah, and they just like fucking seal off all the doors, and you're stuck in a giant stadium with however many
Yeah.
thousands of
With
people.
a bunch of
Fuck that.
Kid Rock fans.
Oh god, you somehow end up at a Kid Rock concert. That's the worst. You want to talk about getting worse? You're stuck in a Kid Rock concert. Sorry if you guys are big Kid Rock heads. All right, I think that's a great place to end it for tonight. That does it for the Chuddle Movie Club meeting for this evening. Once again, a huge thank you to Cody and Sergio. Go check out the Horror Bandwagon everywhere. They got it everywhere. You want it? It's there.
Oh, we
You
got
what?
it.
Target, Walmart.
We got it.
They're there.
If
They're
you like
just hanging
watching
out.
reacts, definitely go to their YouTube. It is
Yeah, for
sure.
fantastic.
YouTube.
Thank
the
you so
podcast.
much, guys,
Thank you.
for allowing us to come back a third time to talk about more demonic people. I feel like it's just going to be strange if you ever come back and like talk about anything else.
That's right. We have to figure out some weird possession or zombie movie to cover if we venture out of the Rec universe.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta finish I gotta finish it. I can't not.
So we'll see where that leads to. And don't forget about all the places that you can get at us. And until next time.
Agarra el vestido. Agarra el vestido.